It didn't take long for this. So what am I on? I'm on my 4th TikTok, I think, in less than 6 months. And it's being threatened to be disbanded. It's being threatened to be, dumped in the fucking bin. Because I leave things online that reflect reality in stark contrast to what most retards are shopping around and what our masters want people to promote. Yeah. So, new strike added. When I click on it, it just shows me old strikes. I don't know if it's because of the video I posted that mocks all of the fucking bargain bin twats. Oh no, there's something new there. Oh, and it's flagging something that shouldn't be fucking flagged. This is ridiculous. Well, then again, all of them fall into that category. I apologize for saying that. Integrity and authenticity. This has to do with a movie that came out in 2016 called Armageddon, in which it contains lesser magic, talking about shutting down the grid, destroying America, paving the way for the really big steps having to do with what most retards would call the New World Order. I don't see how it has anything to do with a lack of integrity and authenticity. Both of those categories I embody quite a bit, and you would know this if you use your brain. In other words, this is an arbitrary fucking finding, and community standards have nothing to do with freedom of speech. Freedom of speech has nothing to do with community standards, and community standards, basically patently fascist horseshit, would not exist if people were doing the right thing and thinking for themselves. Willing to do the right thing so that shit like this does not stand, so that shit like this doesn't exist. And this is the China app. Yeah. CHINAtok, TikTok. People rave about it. It's a fucking dumpster fire. I've experienced more troubling bullshit on here than any other fucking social engineering app. Instagram barks at me, blocks me, holds me back in a number of fucking ways all the goddamn time. YouTube has ditched a couple of my accounts. YouTube does fucking whine. It pisses and it moans. Facebook, for the most part, has blocked me out or doesn't show people what I leave online. And that really does apply to almost every single one of these fucking social engineering platforms. But TikTok is the only fucking one that has repeatedly burnt accounts to the ground, one after another, in less than 6 months. This is when I say, as always, what the fuck do I know? Imagine what I could teach you. You should really wonder, why the fuck is this happening? But most people probably won't see this post. By the way, when you click on it, and keep in mind, you shouldn't be threatened that your account's going to be fucking dumped in the bin when you still have a chance to appeal these arbitrary fucking findings. Either way, it claims misinformation. This is a movie our masters left in the public sphere. It is their fucking story, their script. How is this misinformation? You tell me. It's a fucking joke is what it is. And these are just stupid fucking hoops in place to deter people, such as myself, who are thinking for themselves and willing to fucking challenge shit. Rock the boat, step out of line, color outside the fucking... I was going to say box. My video did not violate community standards, because community standards are patently fascist horse shit. And so once you submit this, then you still leave your feedback. Yeah, I disagree, because you guys are a bunch of fucking cunts. And we dance back. Sometimes something will be done. If it has to do with Israel, fucking twats saying that men and women, aren't the same thing, those will never be reversed. Found that out on fucking TikTok. You never know. With this, maybe, but probably not, because it involves the corporation, otherwise known as the District of Columbia, the bottom of the trilateral city-states, which was established in 1871. Yeah? This is well after, and essentially the punctuation point The Republic fell during the Civil War and was finalized in 1871 when this, corporate entity was put in place. And that's what the Washington Monument represents in terms of the bottom of the trilateral city-states. And most retards you're going to bump into don't know these things because they're retards. And they support shit like this, which is why this is what it is. But wait, it gets better. I forgot about the fact that I did this last night because I've been doing this lately because, again, these are arbitrary fucking tactics, findings, horse shit. Really, it's harassment, bullying, blah, 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 however you want to think of it. So, you see the one that says community violations, blah, 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 on the top left? And I posted it earlier, and it's not flagged. Just like the 3 times I posted this stuff about putting something that rhymes with emancipation in our food supply. 2 of them were flagged, 1 of them was not. Same applies to some of the guys and gals are allegedly not the same goddamn thing, but they can be, or whatever the fuck. Dude, you guys know what I'm talking about? I just woke up. I apologize. Yeah. I can post fucking butts and skirts and 4 people see it. Where's it at? It's a ways down here. Here it is. And one of them's still alive and well. But 2 of them were flagged, mind you.
What does it mean to be non-binary? It's a guy or a girl playing a faith-based game of pretend, rooted in an assumption predicated on pseudoscience. You can't have 3 without 1 and 2, just as you can't have C without A and B. As is the case when it comes to the origin of a baby, the process requires a guy and a gal. Everything else is a lie dressed up as playing make-believe. Trouble is, people will repeat anything. As this reads, reality is based on duality, which is to say binary. Quit misleading people with your pseudoscience. Here's some of the things the wet farts will rattle off. Binary versus dualism? Binary means having exactly 2 states or possibilities. Saying that something isn't binary generally indicates that there are a range of possibilities or states, or at least more than 2. Just the same, they come from a fucking root, and it happens to be binary. I'm not only part rhino, I mean unicorn. I'm a Jewish black man from Mordor. What?
Yeah. So in other words, what you could surmise from this is the more sense you fucking make, the more you'll be censored. It's a fucking fact. Unfortunately. And it's because people have paved the way for this horse shit. It's alive and well. Most people don't see it for what it is because most people are digesting the entertainment. Here's another good one. And it was muted on TikTok. And we won't sit through the whole thing. But what it's going to tell you is read the ingredients. There's poison in there. And towards the end, it's going to talk about how it's going to make us fat and our insides will rot. Because by design, this is an agenda. And this was left in the fucking public sphere 31 years ago. I posted it to YouTube. They said, oh, there's a copyright. But the audio wasn't removed like it was here on the China app. This one here. Talking about, that thing I'm not allowed to talk about. Involving Canaan, Palestine. Yeah? Sound was removed, and I challenged it. Did they ever get back to me? Oh yeah, look at that. It was not approved. It doesn't violate a fucking thing, but it speaks out against this official narrative of superficial bullshit. In other words, Israel, yeah, is a goddamn agenda. It's a fucking agenda. And China apparently is on board with supporting that agenda. What else do we got in here? Did I post it twice? No, just once. I posted these not too long ago. Here's the one that works.
Any and all sites of this sort should be burnt to the ground. Any and all research associated with this should be scrapped and destroyed, utterly destroyed.
And then some.
And the same applies to anybody who's taking part in these tactics. Stands to reason. But no one's doing a goddamn thing to stop this. Same applies to every single fucking agenda you could think of. Things are getting worse, they're not getting better. And they're not going to unless people pull their heads out of their fucking ass and quit acting like a bunch of goddamn retards. In other words, act like an adult for the first time in your life. And most people think that they are, they assume they are, they believe that they are, but they have not begun the journey. You and I have masters, we're in somebody else's pocket. Are you part of society? Are you jumping through a bunch of fucking hoops? Are you playing the game? Are you technically walking in lockstep? The answer is yes. But most people haven't fucking figured this out. Because they have their heads up their fucking asshole. Oh, and as always, what the fuck do I know?
To contain edible vaccines is well underway. Work is being done with bananas, potatoes, tomatoes, lettuce, rice, wheat, soybeans, and corn. Companies like Medicago are using gene editing to turn plants into mini bioreactors.
Medicago's manufacturing facility looks like a nursery, but inside these plants, they're growing a new kind of vaccine. The technology is called a virus-like particle.
At Medicago, we use a careful step-by-step process to develop vaccines, using our plants as mini bioreactors. We start with the gene sequence or code of a virus. We then use our technology to synthesize the virus code into a real biological product. The code contains genetic instructions that our plants can read, and we insert it into bacteria called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. We submerge the plants in a bath with the bacteria that carries the information into the plant cells. And using a vacuum, we suck out the air between the plant cells and replace it with the liquid. The plants absorb it like a sponge. At the end of their bacterial bath, we return our plants to a carefully controlled greenhouse to let them get on with their natural growing business for at least 4 days. Now the plants will start producing the most important ingredient of our vaccines, virus-like particles.
Gene editing is now officially in our meat industry. Lobbyists for the cattlemen and pork associations in several states have confirmed that they will be using the mRNA COVID vaccines on their livestock. Attorney Tom Renz has been warning that there is no law requiring anyone to give informed consent for vaccine food. There are no laws requiring anyone to tell you the food you are buying has been vaxxed with the spike protein clot shot. The UK recently passed into law the Genetic Technology Precision Breeding Bill. The bill amends the Environmental Protection Act of 1990 to exclude references to precision-bred organisms so far as they relate to marketing. Precision-bred organism is another term for gene-edited. So now in the UK, food that's been gene-edited can be legally marketed as non-GMO. And if this UK gene-edited meat makes its way to America, it can be labeled non-GMO here as well. And so long as it's butchered in America, it can be labeled product of USA. The fake alternative meat being pushed by Bill Gates and others is made of immortal cell lines. In other words, cancerous tumor cells. Real meat is being blamed for climate change. And a recent independent study suggests that most of our meat is already contaminated. Using infrared spectroscopy and electron microscopy, Dr. Anna Maria Mialcia has been studying the blood of the vaxxed and the unvaxxed for over a year now. And at first, she was finding the same contamination in only the blood of the vaxxed, a contamination that she describes as ribbon-like structures, much like the mysterious blood clots being found by coroners. But lately she's been finding these ribbon-like structures in the blood of the unvaxxed as well. By measuring the frequency of one of these mysterious rubbery blood clots, Dr. David Jenigan has developed a way of detecting the same frequency in the vaxxed. Recently, he's found this unique frequency in the meat being sold in his local grocery store and asked Dr. Mielcia to confirm his findings. Her microscopy showed that the blood samples taken from products in the grocery store were all contaminated with the similar ribbon-like structures found in the blood of the vaxxed. Most of the meat in the grocery store is from overseas, and if we want to eat uncontaminated meat, we'll have to start buying direct from farms in America that still produce all-natural organic protein and take back control of our democidal government. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
You really got to appreciate that. This jazz is also controlled opposition. It's been infiltrated. You can't trust it. It's still going to disseminate lesser magic because our masters are pulling the strings of this nonsense. You could also look at, this here. It's very fucking telling, as is the case with this. And it's not just some Joe Blow that fucking designed it and is utilizing it, is the point. It's the very people that are putting fucking you-know-what into the fucking food supply. But people don't realize this. They turn to these things as resources for information, just like putting the control of our food supply in our masters' hands.
People are retarded.
And not rising up and doing the right thing in the beginning to see that that never fucking took place. What I'm getting at, what I'm driving at, is people are fucking stupid and not doing the right thing. In fact, they are doing nothing. And usually I rattle off, complacency got us this far and then some. Oh, but what the fuck do I know? This should come up too. Remind me, which boys club is it that emphasizes the letter G in their logo? Is it the Freemasons? Is there currently an agenda associated with the rainbow? Also involving letters? That's a bit of a spurious correlation, and yet it's not. If you think of ABC, NBC, CBS, the alphabet agencies associated with, the FBI, the CIA, etc., etc., etc. Our masters aren't terribly clever. But their methods do work because most people are below average, well below average, and willing to fall into fucking lockstep.
This isn't how things should be, and nobody's doing the right thing, which means what I'm saying, chances of you being out there doing what you're doing, it is in fact the wrong fucking thing. And that's why this shit stands. There's a lot in this account, and I'll probably end up ditching this one so they don't burn the email to the ground. I found out the hard way the first 2 times, I think. The fucking TikTok will just fuck you completely. This is the worst application I think I've dealt with online. Yeah. Good times. Good times.